Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video right now, the Xbox Series S is going underneath some very serious fire to the point where people are basically once again trashing Xbox on their decision on even maintaining up the console itself. Now, as you guys may or may not have had a chance to go and see, there's been a lot of various games and issues with, well, the Xbox Series S. I myself, high level, am not an Xbox hater. I think the idea of an Xbox Series X and S has both been pretty cool. Xbox Series X for high level computing power to compete with the PS5, Xbox Series S for a somewhat cheaper option that's more maybe for streaming, Game Pass users, casual gamers, or someone who wants to maybe have their very first ever console, maybe someone who's a bit on the younger end, or casual gamer to enjoy. And I'm never against this. I think Xbox at the high level is a cool company that's willing to work with, well, the game studios as a whole. But sadly, that working with the game studios line just dropped is not always entirely true, because right now the Xbox Series S has a huge problem, and I personally believe it has been holding back Xbox to the point where it's now a massive problem that Xbox at this point probably needs to go and address. There's at this point dozens of different major mainstay games that have now been delayed, some even indefinitely delayed. Some games have cost Xbox millions of dollars as well in terms of sales, and it's just a not good point. So right now the entire game industry as a whole is wondering, is the Xbox Series S even worth it? What is the major problems with it? And just kind of overall some pretty big disappointment when it comes to the Xbox Series S. So it's a bit of a harsh video. If you guys do have an Xbox Series S, don't feel bad. Hopefully you got your value with it. Or if you guys have or have not, please leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you guys are new with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below. Would love to have you guys follow. And let's dive on into the video itself. So very first and foremost, I want to show a tweet over here from Zuby that shows all the various big games that have publicly stated right now, game companies and all this, either with a big delay, so a few months after the fact. Some games have still not been launched on the Xbox Series S, or as well as just not a good vibe. Like it just hasn't had issues, had bugs, had whatever. Saying developers who have said the Xbox Series S is a huge problem for game development, or that Microsoft has big major bugs. Basically publicly being outspoken, discussing the fact that there is working issues. Basically right now with ID Software, with the Doom developer, Axel Niltling, the ID Software for Billy Khan. The biggest one is Baldur's Gate 3. That was a huge game, huge mishap on Xbox, where Baldur's Gate was actually very, very long-term delayed due to the fact that the Xbox Series S had a lot of issues. Same with the Xbox Series X. S was the bigger issue, though, to try to launch in polarity, but that's a big deal. Remedy Entertainment as well. Cavern of Mars Recharge. We also had Black Myth Wukong, which, as you guys probably know in the current age, that is a huge issue. Like right now, that game has sold like around over 15 million copies so far, and almost none of them are going to make their way towards Xbox. Because once people enjoy the game on either PC, PS5, they beat the game, the hype wears off, there's not much left for Xbox. And as well, with all these issues with the Xbox Series S, it's just horrible. We have the hot game. Suicide Squad 2 as well has been very outspoken about the fact that they have had issues. Dune Awakening now adding themselves to the list, and same with Intrio, which I believe is also a developing news story. We may even have some news on that tomorrow as well, so definitely subscribe and stay tuned for that. But this is a huge list. And awful just off the list alone, in case you don't care about indie games or whatever. Baldur's Gate 3 being delayed for multiple months, horrible mishap. Black Myth Wukong, horrible mishap. These alone are unacceptable. If I was actually Microsoft, like head honcho of Microsoft, I would be having Phil Spencer fired, reamed for this. Like I would not be okay with missing both of these, because this is also expanding the console market for the PS5 in China and in Asian cultures, which is a very hard market to crack into. So right now, PlayStation's getting notoriety, being the game that can run Black Myth Wukong, while Xbox is silent. Baldur's Gate 2 is really big and pretty much game of the year, where they had very good involvement on the RPG and D&D side. This definitely sold new people into consoles. And once again, Xbox completely fumbled the bag. Now, we're seeing even more news with this too as well. Like we're seeing some of these tweets over here saying like bringing Dune Awakening to the Xbox Series S will be a challenge, according to Funcom Chief Product Officer. So like, what's up with this? Like, what is going on with all these articles and the stuff saying like, yeah, this is going to be a big issue for the Xbox Series S, which once again, that's what Xbox wants. Xbox wants the Xbox Series S and X to launch in tandem, which I do still stand by. I respect that as a company. But what I don't respect is that Xbox Series X users are now having to deal with the delay and issues due to the Xbox Series S. It is not a good vibe, and it's not something I'm okay with. And I think at this point, with all the other ongoing issues, the Xbox Series S is becoming a major problem. It's becoming too outdated. And if we've been kind of okay stating that the Switch has been outdated, which it has been, although most of their games are very like, cutesy art style, less demanding, a game like Black Myth Wukong, I can barely see running well on the Xbox Series S, to the point where I would probably not even buy it if I did have an Xbox Series S. And we're seeing that they're basically saying like, hey, we're going to have to come out on PC first because the Xbox Series X is a problem. And the consoles are meant to be chill, meant to be nice. So all of the upcoming big MMOs coming up in the near future, Dune Awakening appears to be the one most graphically intensive. In addition, with an emphasis on server meshing, as well as the vast open deserts hosting vast PvP battles, it's basically meant to be a good-looking game. It's great news for those with powerful rigs, but also means a lot of time is going to making sure the game works on hardware of various levels of power, such as this Series S. And at this point, we're now even seeing, once again, it is going to be a challenge, according to the Chief Product Officer, Scott Jr. So it's one of the reasons we're coming out on PC first. There is a lot of optimizations we need to do before we release on the Xbox. But yeah, Xbox Series S is a challenge. And that's not something you want to go and hear. If you're Phil Spencer and you have all these game companies out here, that's not what you want to hear. Especially because we do keep on seeing PlayStation stepping up, being like the stepdaddy who stood up, basically saying like, we'll go and give you a few $1 million, we'll help you, we'll apply employees to make sure your deals work. Just let us know, we'll make it happen. Junior also provided insight into what the focus has been during the ongoing closed beta test, and basically just saying that there's just been a lot of issues with various different specs of hardware. Unreal does a lot of work for us in some ways. What we're doing more is optimization of assets and using various technologies, be it FSR or something else, to replicate frames. We want the game to look stunning and high-end, whether you have a 3070 or 4090. We also want to look good. I don't think we've released our minimum specs yet, but powerful cards from a few years ago should be able to still run the game too as well. However, given the ambitious level of scale the game is going for, they asked about the demand for lower spec machines, which would probably even be things like consoles and Xbox Series S, saying, is there a lot of work still being done with optimization? Yeah, it does. It will still perform well on hardware that's years and years old. We'll be able to go and do it. So it's just like saying like they're trying, but they're also saying it's a huge, massive hassle. And this also, once again, kind of goes back to the Black Myth Wukong we covered on the channel, or Black Myth Wukong, the Xbox release delayed. And some people are assuming it was an exclusivity deal, but I do think from all the digging, it was more of Sony just stepped up and kind of set up meetings and organizations with engineers to go make sure that the console themselves will work on the PlayStation. I don't think it was an exclusivity deal in terms of money. I think it was an exclusivity deal just because they put in the work for it to get the console good. And this is once again why it's a huge delay, because it's not even an exclusivity deal. It's just the Xbox Series X's issues, and more so, this is what I think of an outdated article, just gonna use it as a reference. But like, it's just like, it was technical issues. The Xbox Series S was a problem child of a console, and like I keep on saying, people are saying this is going to be a challenge. It's going to be hard. They're literally choosing games to go and do this on the Xbox Series S and delaying it. And they're just putting it on PC instead. And some people are doing the same thing for the PS5. They're like, yeah, we'll run it PS5, PC, but the Xbox Series X and Xbox. We've even seen some companies stating that it's not even worth their time to go and launch it on Xbox because they have a Game Pass deal. So like, just the hardware doesn't sell. Individualized games don't sell. People are so used to Game Pass. And that's, I think, a big issue with the Series S. If you stop getting all these brand new games, unless you have a Game Pass deal, it puts you in a basically hard spot. You either go and you spend the extra money and you go and get a Game Pass deal, which you can't do with every game because you're not going to always make that money back. And you have a lot of money, but you're not as endless as people anticipate. And then as well, if it just doesn't run well on the Xbox Series S, then do you release on the Xbox Series X? And then the Xbox Series S users, which you've kind of pushed for a while to always be launched in similarity, then they're going to be upset and scared about this outdated stuff. Where I really think at this point, the Xbox Series S is becoming a big issue. Xbox didn't really think 4 or 5 years down the road. They probably maybe thought streaming would be more acceptable, maybe be okay with more lower class games, or maybe didn't anticipate technology to move as quick as it did, which makes no sense because it's Microsoft, which they probably have the most information on PCs and upgrades and Windows than any other company in the entire planet. But it sucks because this Xbox Series S really does seem to be a consistent issue. A lot of people are saying, like, is it even possible? Like, is there even a possibility? Because there is issues on the PS5 with Wukong. Is it even viable? Do people even want want to go and do it? Will it make money? And this is where their answers really are. Like, as much as I wish the Xbox Series S does great because it's a nice, viable option for a somewhat cheaper version, it does kind of suck because I want everyone to enjoy games, and they might not have the funding for it. So give me your thoughts and comments. I do think the Xbox Series S has become a big problem. I think Xbox is in trouble, and I want to hear your thoughts. Subscribe if you guys are new. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below. I appreciate y'all for watching, and thank you guys for existing.